Hi, so this is video number 3, SEO, Search Engine Optimization. So normally on these demonstrations I use the keyword strategy tool. In this case the tool is in the process of being built, so therefore it's not available on the internet yet as it's not live. So I'm going to use Digital Marketing Groundworks, which is basically the implementation arm of the Logic digital marketing methodology. So if you're looking for digital marketing services, obviously there is. Okay, so if we go on to this page here, this here is called the search engine results page. So if you're talking to a digital marketer, they'll probably refer to it as the SERPs, okay, search engine results page. And so you'll recognize it straight away because this is where most people will put their query of what they're looking for. They'll put their questions, whatever it is, it would be put in here, and then basically what would happen, clicked on it, sorry, by accident. This here is called a snippet. I also call these adverts to the world. Now the whole point of SEO is that you actually get your snippet as high in the search engines as possible. Okay, so there's actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you sort of the two levels of SEO, if you like. So a lot of digital marketers don't even look at these pages, and this is ultimately where we're going to be able to see the results from our optimization work. Okay, so first thing I'm going to do as a digital marketer is I'm going to put in there, I'm going to put in site : space and then the domain name, click return, and you'll see here there's about 433 results. So these results are basically all the pages from your website, but it's also anything that's linked to it. So it could be maybe competitors who are closely linked to it, who offer the same product and service. Could be any social media posts or accounts, should I say, like LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter. That's going to be on here. If you've got an article in a magazine or in a newspaper, the chances are that's also going to be in this list. So as a digital marketer, if I'm working on just this site, obviously I want to see just those results. So what I'm going to do is site : I'm going to remove that space, and again I'm just going to click on return, and you'll see that that's now moved down to 120 results, meaning that digitalmarketinggroundworks.com has 120 pages currently listing on Google, and these are the snippets, and these are what they look like. Okay, so what we need to do is we need to analyze the snippets. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to look at, let me see if I can find one here. We use this one here. So here we've got, what we're going to look at is, you see here underneath where it says digitalmarketinggroundworks.com, you can see the HTTPS digitalmarketinggroundworks.com. so that there is actually known as a permalink. You can't change it, it is what it is. What I'm actually looking at is the next bit. So in this case this says product, this says effective SEO, and what we're trying to do is we're trying to see, this is, by the way, this is called a slug. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to see how accurate the slug is to the product and service that that page is offering. Okay, so if the word was, for example, training, yeah, I would say that's really broad, because at one end of the scale, yeah, are you offering Microsoft 365 training? At the other end of the scale, are you offering, rabbits jumping through hoops, training for rabbits jumping through hoops? So it's kind of like, it's just miles too broad. We need to narrow the gap so that we know what that page is about, and obviously the more focused the page, the higher up in the search engines we're going to go. Okay, so this is the type of thing that I'm looking at. So the next thing I would look at is basically this line here. So here you can see the page title. And there's a page title, but there's also an SEO title. And the SEO title can be found if I put my mouse over one of the tabs at the top of the website. You see that block that's just appeared? That's the SEO title. Both of these have 65 to 70 character spaces in the allowance, which means we need to get the what we need to say to that customer within that 65 to 70 characters. The SEO title and the page title can actually be slightly different if you wanted to. So for example, if you were a bed and breakfast, you might want to put B&B in one of the titles, and the other one you actually write out bed and breakfast, or you might want to use the word guest house. Okay, so they're similar, so Google will recognise that they are similar phrases that people might be looking for. So 65 to 70 characters, there's a couple of things that go wrong with this line in my view. Okay, because you've only got limited space, one of the default settings on the majority of websites is when you build it, you actually name the site. Okay, quite often that name is often the brand. So I don't really like to do this, but I don't like to pick on anyone. I've got no affiliation to johnlewis.com. I don't know anyone there. It's just an observation, and in my view, it's kind of wrong. So here, on every line almost, you can see the word John Lewis and Partners. John Lewis. This one, straight away I'm attracted by this slug, which just says the word men. It's very, very broad. Doesn't tell you what men's about. So it should be men's accessories or something. So the other thing that I've noticed in this, it's just an observation really, straight away I saw it, was this apostrophe over the S. And here we're using an ampersand. People don't search on ampersands, so ideally don't use those characters in my view. Back to the actual lesson, I guess, was in most lines you've got John Lewis and Partners, John Lewis and Partners. So this is where, if you ask them, I'm sure they're probably doing a branding exercise. The problem is that if somebody types in John Lewis, your website's going to come up anyway. So in my view, we're actually wasting half of the character spacing allowance here. So we're only allowed 65 to 70 characters, and we've just used up quite a lot of those. What we need to do is obviously focus those pages more. So if we go back to the Groundworks page, what you ideally need to do is you need you need to do two things. First of all, you need to do keyword research, extensive keyword research, so you can actually, when somebody types that keyword in the top of the bar here, the keyword is an exact match on what they're actually searching on. And the next thing you need to do is to try and put in there a unique proposition. So what is it that my business is offering that nobody else can offer? Okay. So we need to think very, very carefully about what we're going to put in this line here. So the first thing we need to do, extensive keyword research, and then a unique proposition. So for this example, I'm going to use a bed and breakfast in Aylesbury, only because I used to own the bed and breakfast in Aylesbury, and I've been through this process so many times, and this gives you probably the better examples. So first of all, let's pretend I've got my keyword research. I've got in there bed and breakfast Aylesbury, B&B Aylesbury, guest house Aylesbury. For this exercise, I'm going to use bed and breakfast Aylesbury. Okay, so here somebody's going to type in bed and breakfast Aylesbury, and in the first line on the title, I'd like it to come up with bed and breakfast Aylesbury. So I put that in the title. As an exact match search, it's more likely that person's going to see that link and go to click it. What we need to do now is we need to put in a unique proposition that is going to obviously try and push them into clicking that link. So marketing is also about psychology. So when I write my list for the bed and breakfast, I'm thinking, okay, I'm 200 metres from the town centre. Straight away, people think, oh, that's fantastic. I can walk into town, I can go to a nice restaurant, have a nice meal, I might even get completely drunk, and I could still manage to walk the 200 metres back to the hotel. If I was maybe 200 metres from the train station, they're thinking to themselves, okay, well, I only have to carry my bags 200 metres. If I owned a Ferrari, a Lamborghini, a really, Bentley, a nice car, in order for me to get a nice, decent night's sleep, something that might be important to me is secure parking. So in this line, I'd be putting an exact match on the keyword that somebody's going to type in, so bed and breakfast Aylesbury, and then in the second part of that, I'd be putting 200 metres from the town centre. Okay, so the idea is that you're trying to obviously get somebody to click on that link, and psychology plays a big part of that. The next thing we would look at is this line here. This is called the meta description. The meta description is 150 to 160 characters in length, and again, what we need to do is we need to put things in there that are a benefit to the customer. So if it was the bed and breakfast example, what would you expect from a bed and breakfast? So I'd be putting things like maybe comfortable beds. They would probably expect a full English breakfast, 55-inch screens, Sky TV. You can start to think about your other propositions that we've already mentioned, like near the train station or secure parking. And we're trying to make this snippet, and this is why I call it an advert to the world, is because we're trying to make it into an advert that somebody wants to click on. And of course, if you're driving the right type of traffic by putting the right keywords in the actual advert, if you're getting people to the website and they're not actually then purchasing, then clearly you've got a user experience problem. So if you're selling pencils for £1 million, clearly you're not going to sell that many pencils. So you've got a pricing issue. So that's kind of what we're trying to achieve. So level 1 optimization is to try and put that within the character spacings. Now if you go over the character spacings, what you get is like this one here. You see this where it's got the logic ... It's cut me off. And underneath in this meta description here, you've got and ... So again, this is where I've gone over the prescribed limit on the title, 65 to 70 characters, and then on the meta description I've also gone over. So this is where you're not going to know whether it's actually fitting in the space or not. Because if you look at this one, this top one, you see where it says data-driven marketing and then proven digital marketing strategy, is quite long. But if you have a look at this one with John Russell, digital marketer, hyphen the logic, you can see clearly it's a lot shorter. So Google decides how long they're going to be. So all these numbers, the 65 to 70 characters, 150 to 160 characters, are just a guideline at this stage. So you work into the guideline, then what you need to do is submit all your sitemaps and the URLs. We do that every day. That's covered in video number 5. And then what we do is we'll leave it a couple of weeks and see exactly how the snippets actually look in the search engines, and that is then level 2, the ongoing job of trying to adjust them so that they're more appealing and they fit within the character space that's actually allowed. So that's what we're trying to achieve with our SEO. So in my view, there are 7 points of optimization The first one is the URL. So we've spoken about the permalink and the slug. So that's number one. So I'm amazed how many people, just generally speaking, who are trying to get a keyword up to the top of the search, and the keyword is nowhere to be found in the snippet. So you've got to make sure, obviously, the page is focused, that the title has that keyword in, and that the meta description has that keyword in. So 7 points of optimization. Number one, URL, so permalink slug. Number two, the title. Now we know that the title comes in two formats. It comes as a page title, also comes as an SEO title when we put a mouse over the tab of our website at the top. It can be different, 65 to 70 characters. So that's number two. Number three is going to be content actually on the page. Okay, so what I normally do is I aim for 300 words on a page. So you've got to have enough content on the page that when Google applies the algorithm, there's enough content for it to understand what that page is about. So if I just wrote the cat sat on the mat, is it about the cat or is it about the mat? There's just not enough content there to understand exactly what that content is about. So if you aim for at least 300 words on a page, there's enough to apply that algorithm. And what I normally do is first line of the first paragraph within the first 100 characters, again, I try and put the keyword that I'm trying to optimize for that particular page. And so that's the content section. Number four is going to be the meta description. So we already know this is the meta description here, 150 to 160 characters spacing. Now, what we obviously can see from that is there's 4 points. We've got the slug, we've got the page title, and we've got the meta description. So out of the SEO, you begin to see how the SEO fits into the search engine results page and these snippets adverse to the world. So this is what we do SEO for. Okay, number five is going to be the meta keywords. So if you talk to a younger digital marketer than me, they'll probably tell you, oh, don't worry about keywords because Google doesn't look at them anyway. Okay, it's my view that ultimately Google, let's just say they account for 70-75% of the traffic. Okay, but you're actually eliminating yourself from the other 25-30% who could potentially still be using those keywords. So in my view, if there's space to put the keyword in, it's not going to hurt to put that keyword in. If there's space for it in the CMS, the content management system, somewhere back in the website, just put those keywords in. I usually put in about 4, possibly 5. Next thing we're looking at is images. So it's really, really important that we name our images. So the Google algorithm that came out in March 2024, what they were doing was they're saying how much more important the images are. So in this demo, if we just go to, what I've done is I've just put in fence, okay, you can see the snippet, but you can also see next to those snippets, images are starting to appear. Now at this stage, we don't know if Google is going to roll this out completely for all snippets, but what I'll say is it's probably better to go with it than not go with it. And the reason I say that is because quite a lot of people now do image searches. So if I said to you, oh, I'd like a nice fence, I'd say, okay, well, what type of fence? So it's easier, just to click on the image section at the top here. So you can see under where I put fence, you can see all places images. And it's easy to go, oh, that's the fence I'm looking for, this composite one here. So people do actually search by image. So if you name your image correctly, then that will come up on these pages as well. And if you go back to this results page here, what you can do is, if you want to see your images, if you put in site colon in your website here, you should see that these are images that are basically on your website. Are you naming them correctly? That type of thing. Okay, so I'll just go back. The last one of SEO, so number 7 of SEO, is link building. So I've actually done a link building video to cover link building, because there's internal linking and external linking. So I've done video number 6 on the link building process. Thank you for watching.